disability, I got hurt. I look good, you know. I could probably be looking better, but you know, I think I look okay. My face is a little messed up for whatever's been going on with this whatever. You know, sinus infection gone crazy. But I'm 41 years old, and I've worked ever since I was, I think, 16. You know, like worked a job in the actual UGIS. Other than that, I worked a little bit for my grandmother. She had a daycare. And then, of course, my stepdad ran a private investigation firm out of our home. And I did the paperwork and things like that, you know, for him, for his you know, firm out of our house when I was even younger than 16. That's what I'm saying. I was younger than 16 when I started working. But as far as paying into the system, I've been paying in for a while. Not only that, I actually got hurt at work, okay? I actually almost died at work. I got injected with zinc primer and thinner, you know, marine grade into my body, into my hand. I should have lost my life, but the injection site was, you know, off to a certain amount of, I think the guy said 1/4 of an inch, and my life was spared. I made it. I survived, but I wasn't intended to survive because I never got any benefits, or I never got any, I shouldn't say benefits, insurance, yeah, my insurance benefits. You know, when you get hurt, you think, okay, if I got hurt at work, at least I'm going to get, you know, compensated for it. That's not what happened to me. But the shipyard where I got hurt at, they got a new shipyard. They got a whole new shipyard. They got a whole new paint department after they injured me. And I didn't get anything except for, you know, what happened? Oh, I got jumped on by the police after that. And then I had to go through, you know, 9 different court dates about a misdemeanor, you know, case in Virginia when the police jumped on me. And in the end, they had to drop the charges, but they kept two little charges that were unnecessary in order to keep me in the system. And the attorney that I had to help me told me that. He told me, he said, well, they'll drop all 4 charges if you drop your complaint against them because they assaulted me. I was assaulted, you know, and I was pulled over for no reason. They dropped the reason why I was pulled over, which was failure to yield to emergency vehicle, which isn't even it didn't even apply. It was like, you know, what it was the police officer, the state patrol was sitting on the side of the road, and he had his lights on. He was behind somebody. He was, you know, pulling, like he had pulled somebody over. And I'm driving. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm driving. I got the cruise control on. I'm in Virginia going from, at the time I lived in Virginia. I'm in Seattle now. I was going from Newport News to Norfolk where I lived. And I was going under that tunnel. And they got me like one exit before you get up under that tunnel. And what he did was he was behind, you know, this other car on the side of the road. What he did was he got behind me and he turned his lights off. Or he turned his lights off and then he got behind me. And then all of a sudden he turned his lights on. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm driving around, you know, in my own zone with my music on. There's nobody out there. You know, it's not a lot of traffic. It's 2 in the morning. And he gets behind me and he pulls me, you know, I automatically pulled over. I didn't even think, hey, you're on a floating bridge or whatever that thing is. You know, in Seattle they have a floating bridge, but it's like a lake. It's a floating bridge on Lake Washington. Out in Virginia, that floating bridge, they're on the ocean, man. Okay? They are on the ocean. So when you get out of the car on that joint, you are on the ocean. You are on the water, okay? You are, if you fall off of that, you might get ate by a whale or a shark or something. You feel me? Like, it's literally going through the you know, Atlantic or whatever's over there. I don't know. I just knew that always tripped me out about Norfolk. But I got pulled over right before you get to go through that bridge, and I got jumped on. And there's cameras there. The cameras so-called didn't work, and the police officer tried to say I got out the car. He tried to say I was drunk, which I was not even drunk at all, not even a little bit. And they had to drop that charge, but they charged me with DUI. They dropped that charge, and they dropped the charge of why he pulled me over. And I'm like, okay, well, if you dropped the DUI because I wasn't drunk, if you drop the reason why he pulled me over, which says he had no reason to even be trying to get me to do a breathalyzer in the first place, because that's where it all started from. Kind of, sort of. Like I said, he had his lights off and he was just waiting to get somebody. Obviously, I happened to be the one cruising along at that time in the morning. And he, like I said, the charge was failure to yield to emergency vehicle. And what he was trying to say in his mind was that I was passing him and I should have got over the next lane over because he had his lights on. That was the thought in his brain of why he pulled me over. Well, that doesn't work for two reasons. For one, if you're in process of doing an emergency act, you don't have time to be coming from that emergency act to come get somebody else that didn't pass you. You know what I'm saying? That's a ticket that can't even be given in that manner because you're going to be too busy to be given a ticket. The second issue is it's really for like if a cop car or a fire truck or something or ambulance is on the freeway, you got to get over. That's what it's for. If they're on the freeway in the middle of an emergency or in the middle of a chase, it's not for like if they're on the side of the road and they got somebody pulled over in the middle of giving them a ticket and they have their lights on. That's not what that law was for. And it was like some new little statute. It's not a law. It was a statute, in Virginia. And that's what he used to try to pull me over. Well, in that particular, for one, you were on a bridge. You know what I'm saying? But in that particular area, it was only 3 lanes. So that whatever the little law he was trying to get to, make sense in his mind for why he pulled me over, it didn't apply. So they had to drop the whole reason why he pulled me over. And of course I wasn't drunk, so they had to drop that. Well, the 2 other charges that he had was failure to take a breathalyzer. And I'm like, okay, he assaulted me. So if I was assaulted and I didn't fail to take a breathalyzer, what happened is I told the officer, hey, I don't feel comfortable because I'm a daughter of a law enforcement officer, a federal agent who had given me the spiel on what to do. I said, officer, I'm comfortable doing a sobriety test on the side of a freeway that is on the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But what I will do is I'll get in your car and we can drive off of the freeway because we were right at the exit. I really should have got off the exit, but I just was, doing what was natural just to pull over. But I told him, I'll get in your car and we can get off the freeway. He didn't want to hear that. What he did was he ended up saying, you're under arrest because he was saying I was refusing to do the sobriety test. And I'm like, there's cars going by. We're on the side of the freeway and literally less than 6 feet from me is the ocean. We shouldn't even be outside of our vehicles right now on this little highway. And I don't know why you're pulling me over. Because when he initially pulled me over, and I know I'm being, scatterbrained with this, but I don't really like talking about it. So since it's coming out, I'm just going to let it, go ahead and come out and get it out the way. He pulled me over and I pulled over and he asked me, for my driver's license and registration and insurance. And so I gave it to him because I had it. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, have you been drinking? And I said, well, I had a drink earlier because I had a drink maybe like 3 hours prior. I was at my friend's house. We were watching a movie. I think it was like Norbit or something back when that movie first came out. Or The Clumps. It was The Clumps, I think. It was The Clumps. It was back in 2008 is when this occurred. Either way, that movie had just came out. I watched a movie with him. Yeah, we had some of the Pinnacle vodka. That was when Pinnacle vodka first came out as well. It was like some vodka and some orange juice we were drinking. And I had one drink, one shot, maybe a shot and a half inside some orange juice. And at the very end of the night, there was a little bit of the orange juice left at the bottom. Of course, that vodka is stanky. It's very strong. And he didn't have any bottled water. And me being uppity like I used to be, because I got over that, I didn't want to know, it's, you know. And until the water is different here in Seattle than it is in Virginia and other states that I've been to. But I was like, no, I'm not drinking no water from your faucet. I need to, you know, let me get the rest of that orange juice. And I just put it inside the glass that had the rest of the little alcohol. That, you know, not the alcohol, but they had the little orange juice that's what mixed the alcohol. It had maybe like this much at the bottom. And then I filled it up, you know, it was like a 8-ounce glass, maybe. I can't remember. It was so many years ago. But either way, that's what the officer smelled on my breath. He smelled me drinking a glass of orange juice that had a little swig of some orange juice that was contaminated with that stinking, funky Pinnacle's vodka. And he assumed that I was drunk, and I wasn't. And I didn't have any worries. You know, like I said, I'm a daughter of a federal agent. You know, I'm raised around all kind of police officers and different you know, people of authority. So I really wasn't tripping too hard. But what he did was, as he was, you know, he took my license, registration, and insurance, and as he was walking away, he was like, "Can you get out the vehicle, please?" And I'm like, "Huh?" I said, "Officer, what are you pulling me over for?" He said, "Failure to yield to emergency vehicle." And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but whatever. So I gets out anyways. I get out the car, and I'm in the back of my car. And at the time, I had a Dodge Neon. It was, you know, I bought it brand new, and I had it for 5 years. It was like a 2003, something like that. And I had just paid it off, too. I'm telling you. Well, yeah, I had just paid it off. I was like maybe 2 months into paying it off or something like that. And I'm trying to think what happened. Oh, so I'm behind my Dodge Neon, and it had the fin. It was a little S version or whatever, so it had like a little fin at the back. And I'm standing there, and you know, the officer's like in front of his car, because, you know, you're in the side of a freeway. There's not a lot of room. It's just like the little you know, the edge or whatever. It's only so much room. It's maybe 8 feet, maybe something like that. I don't know. It's not very wide at all. That's why I was so nervous. But he was in front of his car, and I'm behind my car. And, you know, of course, his lights are on. And, of course, he should have a video camera recording. And like I said, we're on a bridge, you know. And you know how they have the traffic cams? So, you know, the traffic cam had to see everything, too, because there was a camera right there. It's like right before you go underneath the bridge to go, underneath the tunnel to go into Norfolk. And he says, you know, "Ma'am," you know, he started talking to me real crazy. And I was like, something ain't right about this. So I was like, "Officer, you know, I don't feel comfortable trying to do a sobriety test right here. There's cars going by, you know, I'm not comfortable. But what I will do is get in the car with you." You know, we went over this a little bit already, but I'm going to go over it again a little bit more. I told him I wasn't comfortable, and he was like, you know, you're not obeying, or something along those lines, and you are under arrest. So I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm just standing, you know, behind my car. Like, okay, you know, arrest me. There's nothing I can do but stand here. If you're telling me I'm under arrest, all I can do is stand here and wait. So what he does is he charges me, and he has his arm like this. And he takes his arm and he leans on me, so he's got me like this, and he's got me leaned back. Ooh, it's cracking my chest muscle. Yes, I feel good. But he's got me, you know, back against the car like this, And so, you know, he's got his arm in my neck, and I'm on my fin, so I'm not all the way back, but I'm kind of back. And he's like, you know, you're under arrest, you're under arrest. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, this is getting crazy, because I'm not resisting or anything. I'm just sitting there with this man with his arm, his whole forearm and whole body weight in my throat. And I'm like, okay, he's about to kill me. That's the first thing going in my mind. This dude is crazy. And then he goes to reach into his pocket or whatever in his hip, and he's like, I will make you. And I'm like, what the hell? Why? Well, you know, like at this point, you could just turn me around and put the cuffs on me. You got your arm in my throat. You're doing all this extra stuff. I'm like, something's really, really not right. And I'm, you know, thinking, man, I'm by the water. I'm like, if this dude gets the cuffs on me, he could throw me in the water. Anything could happen, you know. And so he's got his arm in my neck, and I'm like this. And I push him up off of me, you know, like this, with one arm. And I go motion like this. And I'm out now. I'm in damn near in traffic, because there's traffic going by. There's not a whole lot of cars or anything, because like I said, it's 2 in the morning. But there was cars, you know, a few cars here or there. So they're going by. And I'm waving down like, help me. And so a car pulls over. And so by then, the officer, so, you know, he was on me like this. I pushed him off, and then I'm waving down help. And I probably got half a step away from him. And I'm still kind of like by the back of my car. And he's grabbing me from this side now, because, you know, I'm trying to be like, hell, I ain't about to run into traffic, but I'm still about to try to flag somebody down, let them know something's going wrong over here. And so what happened next was he got me to where I was turned around. So now, instead of me being on my back against the fin, I was like on my chest against the fin, you know, the back fin of my car. And he had this hand, you know, the hand that he used to turn me around, he had it up against my back, you know. Oh, it's a sticker. He had me, you know, he had me pinned up against the car, and he was trying to get the hand. You know, he had my arm all jacked up, and he was like, you're under arrest. You know, he's still going crazy. I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm not about to let him put no cuffs on me. And so I don't look strong, but I'm very strong. So he's trying to put the cuffs on, and he can't get this arm. He couldn't get this arm, so he's trying to grab this arm, and I'm like, you know, like arm wrestling with him from the back, and he got, you know, he's a man. He's arm wrestling me from the front, so I could feel that he was getting very upset that he couldn't overpower me. But I was like, officer, I'm not fighting, so I'm still talking. I'm like, officer, you know, I'm trying to talk myself out of dying. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, that's one thing's going on. Police brutality. This was going on. Matter of fact, this was Obama had just got in office. He had just been elected or been inaugurated or something. It was somewhere around that time. I'm trying to think. I think it was like November of 2008. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm gonna get the dates. I'll put it in there if I can. But either way, he had me up against the car. He couldn't get this arm in. So, and all this happened pretty quick, you know. All of it happened probably within like 5 minutes. I guess somebody saw me, you know, and they pulled over. So I'm thinking, oh gosh, you know, thank you. Somebody's gonna come save me, you know. When a car pulls over and an older, you know, European gentleman gets out the car. Now, when I say older, he had to be like, I don't know, he had all white hair, so he had to be 70. He was up in age, you know what I'm saying? You could tell by the way he was walking and all that. But he was still a man, and he got out the car. And I said, sir, you see I'm sitting here calmly. This officer has assaulted me. Can you please call 911? And so the man kind of like slowly walks up, and he's like, you know, and I'm still got my, you know, this arm got one cuff on it, and he's trying to get this arm, trying to get it together to get the other cuff on it. He can't do it. He's behind me. And so the guy is walking up watching this happen, you know. And I'm telling the guy, look, you see there's really no physical, nothing like real physical going on right now. I just need you to call the police to let them know something, this officer had just assaulted me. And so what this guy does is he comes and he grabs my arm and he squeezes my arm very hard, and he left a nice 4-inch bruise, which I have pictures of, on my arm. And he grabbed my arm, and together, the both of them put the cuffs on me. And it was at that point that something broke in me, because I got assaulted by 2 men on the side of the road and nobody came to help me. And I actually thought he might have been trying to come and help me, and he wasn't. He was actually there to harm me. And so mentally, I shut down. And I was just like, okay, they could throw me off the bridge right now. They could throw me off this little, whatever it was on the little, freeway. They could throw me into the ocean. They could have did anything to me, It was a very traumatizing, devastating feeling. So what he did was he put me into the front seat of his car, and the police car. And what he did is he called internal affairs because he knew he had did something wrong. So he let the man go. He claims he didn't even get the man's number. Of course, like I said, we're on this freeway. All this stuff is recorded. They claim they don't have any footage. So I don't even know who this man is that put this bruise on my arm and hurt me. I had bruises on my wrist from the fighting with the police, the state patrol, So internal affairs came. They came and they took pictures of me. Of course, I had like a little jacket on or whatever, so you couldn't see the bruises. You could just see where like my ponytail was kind of like messed up or whatever. I don't even know if I have those pictures, but they're out there somewhere, I'm sure, because the state patrol, like I said, the internal affairs came out and took pictures that day. And then the next day I went down to their office, the state patrol office, to make a formal complaint and to give them pictures of my bruise, showing them pictures of my other bruises. Like, dude, like, this man really went to the limit, and you let another civilian or whoever he was come and assault me, and I didn't even do anything. And so that night, what ended up happening was they after internal affairs left and everything, they had their little investigation. They didn't really do anything. They let this officer be the one to take me to the jail. They took me to jail, even though they knew I wasn't drunk. So he took me in his car, and they towed my car. I had to pay to get my car at a tow. And they released me in the middle of an industrial area, because that's where the police station is. It's just incredible, the things I've been through. But dealing with this situation is ridiculous. And the lack of compassion has been amazing. And like I said, since this has happened to me, because this was a while ago, Corey Gaines got killed. And it was kind of like the similar situation. You get, jumped on by the police, and then or something, they've done some unjust thing to you, and then you complain about it, and then all of a sudden now you are you're going through all these economic problems. They towed my car because they ended up pulling me over, I think 2 more times after that, and I ended up going to jail 2 more times after that. And I finally just left Virginia. I was like, I'm out of here. This is crazy. I can't believe it. And that's how I lost my storage, and that's how I don't have a vehicle right now. And inside that vehicle was my passport, my driver's license, what else was in there? My birth certificate. All those things was in my glove compartment box. Those are all the things needed to steal identity. You see what I'm saying? The police towed my car, and it was in their lot. And this is like 2 years after the actual assault that occurred. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he assaulted me, and then I put the complaint against him. They decided to pursue charges against me. Like I said, it was 4 charges, and went over the 4 charges. at the end, like I think a year into the long court battle, which the reason why it was so long is because they kept on, like, the judge would be on vacation, so they had to reschedule this, reschedule that. I found out later on that after 3 reschedules or whatever, they have to drop the case, but I had 9. And it took place over the course of 2 years. And I had to stay in Virginia. And at that time, I was going through my physical illness. Because keep in mind, I had just almost lost my life in the shipyard that September. And then I get pulled over in November. Then I start this court case. And then I end up having a miscarriage at the same time. You know, which I think that stemmed from probably all the stress of everything, but primarily from, you know, that the injury that I had on my hand, on my body, and all the poisons that were put inside my body. And I had to have 3 surgeries on my hand to get my hand right at the end of the day, to get it functioning, to where I could open it without the scar, you know, constricting or whatever.